Hello, my K-drama loving Chingu. Welcome back to my monthly K-drama recap podcast where I chat about the K-dramas I've finished, the ones I'm currently watching, and the upcoming ones I'm really looking forward to. If you're new here, hi, I'm Jennie. I've been a K-drama fan for over 10 years and I've now watched over 300 dramas. And I use this space to go deeper into my thoughts, reactions, and all the drama chaos we don't get to fully unpack on Twitch. Speaking of Twitch, I stream most weekends, currently on Saturdays, 9 a.m. Central Daylight Time, where we watch K-dramas live and chat in real time. Right now we're watching Law in the City, which I'll talk about a little towards the end of the podcast, since as I'm currently recording this, we've watched episodes 1 and 2. I'm gonna hold my thoughts. A quick shout out to my Patreon stans. Thank you so much for supporting this channel and helping grow such a fun and thoughtful K-drama community. If you're not already on the Patreon, you can follow for free and get early access to these podcast episodes. Plus, I'm always sharing random thoughts and updates across TikTok and Instagram, so you can keep up with me between episodes there. One last thing before we dive in. During each episode, I give a final star rating for any completed drama, which I update over on my drama list. I'm not sponsored or anything. It's just the platform I use to track the shows I've watched. So if you're curious to see how I rate things or want to track your own, feel free to check out that platform. It's very helpful. All right, we are in August, so it's time to cover the K-dramas I finished in July and what I thought of them. I'd say it was kind of a light month. Definitely a light month. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 K-dramas to cover, so not bad, not bad. So the first K-drama I want to talk about that I completed in the month of July was A Good Boy. This was a 16-episode K-drama. It aired May through July in 2025 as I'm recording this, and it was a Saturday-Sunday drama. It was about an hour plus 15 and up, and was a action comedy romance sports K-drama. It was on Prime Video, and the description of the story is the story of medalists in international competitions who decided to become police officers through the Olympic special recruitment. Instead of medals on their necks are now their police IDs as they encounter a lot of immoral and foul people. The K-drama will showcase an Olympic Avengers, a special team that will dedicate the violent crimes and cases filled with injustices by utilizing their skills as a player. That was the worst description I've ever read. That was like the worst ChatGPT writing. Nobody read through that one. Nobody read that one out loud. Like that description, I really would consider this K-drama a bit of a train wreck. It has like an 8.4 rating, and there are moments of goodness in this K-drama, but this was definitely one that I think they really shot themselves in the foot for making it 16 episodes long, because it just was drawn out way too much, a little too ridiculous, and it was just very disjointed as well. I had moments in this K-drama where I just could not keep up. I was like, who's the villain? What's going on? How is this happening? Why are we here? I had some amazing fight scenes, I will say that for sure, but the plot, the characters, I don't know. It had such a good recipe. It has such a great cast, which I'll get into in a moment. But yeah, it was just kind of a flop for me, and I feel really bad because it had the opportunity to be great, and there were good moments in this K-drama, but the overall K-drama, not the best. So this had quite the cast of main roles. This starred Park Bo-gum, Kim Soo-hyun, Oh Jung-se, Lee Sung-yi, Hyo Sung-tae, and Tae Won-suk, along with some supporting roles like Lee Hoo-jung, Jung Mon-sik, Seo Hun-chul, Park Cho-min, and many others. I was definitely drawn to the K-drama because it had Park Bo-gum and Lee Sung-yi in it. And boy, do they put poor Park Bo-gum through the ringer in this one. He does get a little romance with Kim So-hyun, and the backstory is that like Lee Sung-yi and Kim So-hyun's character used to date. So there's a bit of a love triangle that I was kind of there for, but also not. The romance was cute. Okay, we have some very cute adult smoochy scenes later into the series, but they really do like a lot of this is some high stakes stuff happening, but then nothing really comes out of it. This one just really lacked something. And I'm just now looking through the reviews on my drama list and like what other people are thinking. I love the title of like this first one I'm reading where it just says train wreck. Strong start, dull second half. Just go in expecting a wild ride, not a perfect one. I'd say that those titles are I agree with perfectly. This one says nope. Go hard or go home. It could have been amazing. So yeah, not the first couple reviews at least are in similar thinking. Wow, this person gave it a 4.0. That's a little harsh, but I might actually go pretty low in this K-drama in its rating as well. It was just very disjointed, and it was like they didn't know how to fill the 16 episodes. Now the fight scenes, fantastic. Like so much work went into a lot of those, and there were a lot. I also think they should have given Kim So Hyun a little more something. Like her character was very intriguing, and also the only one that like could shoot a gun. You know, she had the potential, and they started giving it to her towards the end, but I just feel like they thought that Park Bo Gum's character was just going to be the main reason that people go and watch it, like him and Lee Sung-yi. So I feel like they really did not flush out Kim So Hyun's character as much as I feel like they could have. And they had 16 episodes to do it. They kept trying to box her into the role of she's tough, can totally take care of herself, but these boys just did not understand that concept and kept coming to rescue her when really she didn't need all that rescuing. She rescued herself and really came in the clutch and like helped those two. Also, they gave her a backstory as well as a reason to hate On Jung-se's character, who he ends up being, he is the villain in this K-drama. And he plays the villain very well. And I'd say he acted his part very well. It just was a very terrible story and writing. So, you know, he didn't have a lot to work with, but I would say that he's like the Walter White. Actually, Drug Mom is the Walter White of this K-drama. But he's a bad guy, and you just see him being a bad guy left and right, but he's got so much money, and money is always the winner in every K-drama. If you have enough money to pay off an entire government department, you can get away with anything, is what I've learned from this K-drama. In the end, he did not. I did enjoy his comeuppance, but it was a long way to get there, and it was just kind of stupid how they got there. Definitely agree with a lot of these reviews. You know, that first one where it was titled Trainwreck. The first sentence of this drama belongs in the great cast terrible writing category is really correct. I mentioned this over and over. It was so disjointed. And I don't know if it was because they like have their moments of discussion and then, the answer is we got to fight everyone. But like there was fighting amongst the police officers, the bad guys. Also, were the bad guys good guys? It was just like so much flippy floppy characters that it was really hard to get invested in anything or anyone. And though there was romance, you know, the action was great, it fell flat. It really fell flat. I feel very bad about it because it was, so much money went into this one, you can tell. But it was just very disjointed. And I definitely feel like if they had kept it to a 12-episode drama, I would maybe not be griping as much. Because it was like, you know, it's one of those K-dramas where the bad guy just keeps getting away on the stupidest of technicalities. And it's just stupid. It's frustrating. And I know they do that purposefully to keep the drama moving. But it just was so far-fetched. And just also makes the police force look terrible. Like, I don't trust Korean police officers now. The premise, though, that like they're all Olympians and they use their skills to fight the bad guys, they definitely incorporate that with the characters and the scenes. And it's, it's really well shot. Like there is a fight scene with Park Bo-gum pretty early on involving like neon paint and black lights. And there's no rhyme or reason for it, but it looked really cool, you know? And Kim So Hyun's character, just, I feel like they could have fleshed her out more. She really did have kind of a sad backstory, and I think the connection there, it just was like, wait, so who's doing what? It's like they had so much time to cover so much, but then they glossed over things that I feel like they should have gone a little more in depth in my humble opinion. But yeah, also Tae-won Shook's character, his character just kept going in and out. I don't know if there was something going on with the actual actor at the time, but it was like he was going in and out. He seemed to have like the worst luck in his job. And I loved that they kind of gave him a scene with like his wife and kids, and you sort of get a little bit of backstory as to what's going on with him and his family and why he's so in and out of the task force. And he does come to the rescue at the very end, but it was just kind of like, why are you here out of nowhere? Like, this is random. I really am quite shocked that some folks have given it an 8.3, because I really am going to be giving this a pretty low rating. Is it the lowest of the year? I don't know, but I'm giving it a 6. It's getting a star rating of 6. I will say, like, the visual was amazing. The production was fantastic. The acting, they acted the poop out of it. They really did the best they could. You can only polish a turd so much. I'm not saying this is like turd quality, because so much effort goes into these dramas, not only in the writing, the cast, the crew. So much went into it, and everybody tried really hard, you can tell. But it felt flat. I feel bad about it, but we're giving Good Boy a 6. Let me know what you would rate this in the comments below if you have other opinions on it. But I'd love to hear what you thought of it. Also, I did love the bromance between Park Bo-gum and Lee Sung-yi. I was like, why can't they get together? Frankly, Kim So Hyun seems like she's the third wheel in this relationship. But that was really good. Yeah, I think I shared some of my thoughts also in the last podcast, because I was watching it at the time. So I think I've stayed pretty consistent, but overall, not the best drama I watched in the month. The next one I watched might be my favorite of July, maybe my second favorite. It's in my top favorites for sure. Good Boy would definitely be at the low end of the bar, but I did randomly decide to watch Head Over Heels, mostly because it had Chu Young-woo in it, and I believe he was in Trauma Code recently. Yes, I watched him in the Trauma Code Heroes on Call, which that was a Patreon exclusive K-drama reaction, so you can watch me watch that on the Patreon. I did not watch Mercy for None. Did I watch him in anything else? I think I was looking at The Tale of Lady Oke, but I did not watch it. So the Trauma Code was the first K-drama that I really discovered him in. And Head Over Heels, the premise, just right up my alley. Also, it has Choi Yi-hyun in it. And what have I seen her in? Oh, yeah, that's coming up. I was like, Vampire Chef, that looks fun. She was in The Matchmakers, which that had Raoun in it. And I thought that was a pretty cute K-drama. I thought her and Raoun were really sweet. And she was also in All of Us Are Dead, which I do remember her from, but I'm really more of a romance, historical drama fan. So, The Matchmakers was kind of my introduction to her. Oh yeah, she was also in Inspector Ku, but she was like a guest role, so I don't fully remember her. Have not watched School 2021, so Head Over Heels is kind of like it seems like she's new to me. This one was Prime Video. It was 12 episodes long, which frankly, that was like the perfect episode number for this one. I'd say the pacing was really good. They kind of flopped the ending, like the last 2 episodes were a little meh for me, but also cute. Like, I was fine with it. I just feel like it was kind of lazy in the ending, in the writing. But the premise of Head Over Heels is Park Sung-ae is a high school student, but at night she is a shaman named Fairly Chonji. When she works as a shaman, she covers her face partially to hide her identity. She is famous as Fairy Chunji, and she is busy working with her clients who come to ask about their future, fortune, illnesses, and other things. One night, Bae Gon-yu and his grandmother come to visit Fairy Chunji. Park Sung-ae has a crush on him at first sight, but she sees that he is destined to die soon. The next day, Bae Gon-yu appears in front of her as a new transfer student in her class. She decides to save him from his destiny. So this is a romance drama, fantasy, supernatural. I love a good high school shaman. I think the premise was super cute. You know, it's like, I want to be a high schooler and live my life, but also she has these otherworldly powers and is a shaman. And I think the, you know, ghost lore, the adventure piece of it was really fun. However, the villain, who ends up not being a full villain, there's no real villain in this one. Because it gets a little crazy when you think about everything that happens in the K-drama. But Chu Young-woo, low-key really grew on me. I think his character, like, obviously, I love a good K-drama character who loves their grandmother to death. Like, I love a good grandma's boy. Not so much a mama's boy, but a grandma's boy is a different story. And he definitely had grandma boy vibes. Sad things happened with the grandma, as always, to really push the plot going. Sorry, spoiler alert. That was super upsetting. He also gets low-key possessed by I guess a ghost slash future demon. And that character he plays, when it's the ghost inhabiting his body, so fun, so funny. Even though it's supposed to be kind of dire and scary, I'm like, honestly, his goofy, like, playful, kind of sarcastic, pushy character was really, really well done. And I definitely think that the romance between him and Cho Yi-hyun's character, super cute. Also, Cha Kang-yoon, who plays another main role, kind of a love triangle, but really just more there for his bestie shaman friend, who is Choi Hee-hyun, and the bromance friendship that brews between him and Chu Young-woo's character, super fun. Chu Ja-hyun, who plays kind of a villainous shaman, who was also raised by Kim Mi-kyung's character, who is the supporting role and who raised our female lead at a young age. Because her backstory is really sad. Like, they go into that, and I was like, oh, this poor girl. Like, she's gone through so much, and look how she's turned out. Really sweet, just also sad. That was really unnecessary. Like, Chu Ja-hyun's character, they made her redeemable at the end. Not so redeemable. There were parts of it that I was like, what are we doing here? We're just, like, cursing each other back and forth, and then bad things happen. So there were some things that, like, were a little monotonous in the plot to keep things going that weren't the best, but the overall cuteness, adorableness, definitely better than Good Boy. I'll give it that much. I think they just didn't know how to end it. I think a happy ending where there was no ghost, everybody lived, I think that was close to how it ends. I liked it. I really liked it. I'm a fan of supernatural, and if you put in romance in high school, like, it's kind of a win for me. So I definitely would recommend Head Over Heels. I also feel like we're in a bit of a K-drama slump right now. There's just not amazing stuff coming out, in my humble opinion. Like, there's some things coming out soon that look very intriguing. Will they be the best? We'll have to wait and see. But Head Over Heels is definitely one I would say give it a go, give it a watch. It's got some, I would say, new actors that are up and coming, and I think they do a really good job. And it's just cute. I wouldn't call it wholesome, but it does have like a wholesome feel to it. Also, Cho Hee-hyun she is very much like fairy-like in her demeanor, in her speech. She's just very beautiful and cute, and I honestly feel like she looks like she's in high school, so it wasn't too ako taco for her to be in a high school uniform. Sometimes it's a questionable choice, the age range that they have some of these folks acting as high schoolers. So yeah, what would I rate Head Over Heels? Definitely not a 10. I would actually give it probably like a 7.5. A little bit for the story, because yeah, the last two episodes, it was like they didn't really know how to end it, and they did a big old time gap. I feel like that's how, not time gap, time hop. I feel like they use time hops as a way to fill in gaps that they just don't know how to write for. Like, okay, well, she's now done this. How do we get the happy ending? Let's do a time hop, and maybe time will fix it all. So we get a little bit of them as adults, which was fun. We get like a fun reunion of all the high school friends after some time. Like they meet back up for a reunion of sorts. And that part actually made me cry way more than I really wanted to cry. Was quite shocked by that. And yeah, again, like grandma's boy situation with Chu Young-woo, like he does a really good job in this one. I think that the acting, like he's up and coming for sure in my opinion, and I'm a fan. The next K-drama that we finished, and I may actually rate as like a 9.5/10 already, is Our Unwritten Soul. This one we watched together on Twitch, so there is lots of video evidence of me just bawling my eyes out, trying to keep my makeup from just smearing everywhere. But this was a 12-episode K-drama on Netflix. It's a romance life K-drama, and it stars Park Bo Young and Park Jin Young, as well as Ryo Kwon Soo. And Park Bo Young plays two characters. Twin sisters Yumi Ji and Yumi Ray differ in everything except their faces. Yumi Ji, the younger of the twins, has ended her short hair day as a promising track and field athlete and is currently living a free-spirited life. On the other hand, the older sister of the twins, Yumi Ray, who has been walking the path of the elite since her school days, is a perfectionist working at a public corporation. The twins, physically identical but leading starkly different lives, embark on a bold charade, switching lives for undisclosed reasons. Lee Ho-soo is a lawyer at a large law firm with a tall appearance and seemingly carefree attitude. He may look like a noble swan with no external flaws, but he works harder than others to live an ordinary life, and this is because he's been living a different life than before after experiencing something in the past. As a result, he lives a calm life without showing true feelings, but one day an unexpected encounter occurs that sends waves through Ho-soo's heart. This K-drama, I don't even know where to start with. The character development and story was amazing. Anything that Park Bo Young is in, I have to watch because I love her so much. She's so amazing. I've followed her since Oh My Ghostess and my Strong Girl Do Bong Soon. And I like that she's playing two very distinctly different characters. That must have been so hard, but she did it effortlessly. And in this one, she gets double the romance. So she has to have some chemistry with two different people playing two different characters. That to me sounds difficult as hell, and she did it with ease. Also, the mothers in this K-drama, played by Jung Young Nam and Kim Sun Young. Also, there's a grandmother who, guys, spoiler alert, the grandmother does not make it towards the end of the series, which is so upsetting. That was the one gripe I have about this K-drama, is why they got to kill off the grandmas. Okay, we don't need to do that. They did that. They did it in Head Over Heels. I know that it's for the plot, but for this one, not needed for the plot, in my opinion. I guess kind of needed, to release Miji from feeling responsible for her grandmother. Because a big reason why she stayed and didn't try to venture out, besides some other kind of mental issues, was because she felt like she had to take care of her mother and stay there for her grandmother, because her mother had a poor relationship with her mother, the grandmother. And the grandmother really raised the two girls, so the grandmother and the girls have a very strong bond. And the whole story with Jong Yun Nam, who is the mother, and which is terrible, is that she cannot recognize her two children. Like, she realized that they switched after the fact, when they switched back. And I wouldn't say that she's actually the most realistic character, because she's really not playing a good character. She's grumpy, she's mean. To the people that are nice to her, she's still just like, she takes offense so easily. She jumps the gun, immediately goes to the most negative of emotions. But that's just how she was raised. And she even says that. She's like, I don't know how to do this. And she feels really bad that she can't tell her girls apart. So yeah, I would say that, like, the times I've cried, like, Park Bo Young got me a few times, but I'd say that Jong Young Nam, her acting and her tears, those got me crying the hardest. There were some definite scenes between her and Kim Sun Young, who she plays Park Jin Young's mother, that were just, oh my gosh, like, tears for days. Her character and the things that you find out about her and the relationship with Park Jin Young, heartbreaking. So sweet, also so heartbreaking. I'm also convinced that Kim Sun Young is a Libra. They don't show that, but there were just so many quirks in the way that she responded to things and acted. I'm like, is she me? Because, like, this is how I would act. Like, she is me. And also just, like, has the biggest heart. Like, I'm crying just thinking about it, because in the whole story, Park Jin Young, like, loses his mother at a young age. Kim Sun Young plays an adoptive mother. She marries his father, and then I don't even think they got married. I guess they did get married. And then an accident happens, and she stays and takes care of him and raises him and tells everybody that he's her son. And there is just such a poignant moment at the end of the series between him and her and their conversation and what she says to him. Oh, watch it just for that. Like, the growth in the characters and the story, absolutely perfect. Probably because the writer was Lee Kong. They've done some really good stuff. Oh, they did Youth of May. That makes a lot of sense. Who was the director? The director was Park Shin-woo, who, yeah, they did win the Stars Gossip, Love Struck in the City, It's Okay to Not Be Okay, Jealousy Incarnate. Like, they have a list of really great dramas that they've directed. So it just had an overall good group of people working on this project, and emotionally so upsetting. Like, healing, hidden identity, loneliness. It really covers a lot of things that are serious issues, and nobody talks about it. And I'm just glad that the characters all turned out happy and okay. And I would say this one could have had 2 more episodes. I think this would have been a good 16-episode K-drama, but I think they used those 12 episodes wisely. But I think they could have had a couple more episodes. Maybe 14 episodes. Maybe just 2 more episodes with a little more happy ending. But that is me being super critical. I am going to give this a 9.5. I do think it could be a 10, though. It almost feels 10-like. It is our girl. I don't know. I'm really torn. I'm going to leave it at a 9.5. I cannot talk today. For now, it was just a really great drama. Probably one of the best dramas of the year. We'll have to see when I do a full recap of, the best dramas of 2025, which I do. I've done. I did last year. I think I did the year before. Plan to do it this year. So we will see at the end of the year. But this one's looking pretty high up there in comparison with the other K-dramas that I've watched this year. All right, next K-drama, we finished on the Patreon, Squid Game Season 3. So this one was a voted on reaction. Action thriller, mystery horror. It was 6 episodes. Thank goodness they didn't extend it, but it's over. This was on Netflix, definitely 18 plus, and about as effed up as I thought it was gonna be. I was hoping for some redemption from certain characters that did not happen, and that made things even more terrible. So, yeah, glad it's over. Not my favorite drama, but I finished it, and it definitely was effed up, but worth the watch. But yeah, this had Lee Jung Jae, Lee Bon Yum, Yim Shi Wan, Kang Ha Nul, Wee Ha Jun, Park Yo Young, and many, many more. Yim Shi Wan, he played number 333. He was also the baby daddy of one of the characters. Oh my gosh, and the mother, Kang On Sim, who had the son with the glasses, their story and her story specifically, heartbreaking. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I can't even go into it. It was so upsetting. I think everybody who needed to get their comeuppance got their comeuppance. I will say I was looking forward to certain deaths and they met expectations. But then there were others that I just was like, oh my gosh. Like, I'd say that Lee Jung Jae's ending in the show was very poignant. Wee Ha Jun, did he get any real answers? No, but he did eventually find the island, which I was like, is he ever going to get there? Like, we're too, like, where it's too late. It's too late at this point. But he still got there, I guess. But the description that they gave Squid Game Season 3 on my drama list is a failed rebellion, the death of a friend, and a secret betrayal. Picking up in the aftermath, the final season finds Gi-hoon, player 456, at his lowest point yet. But the Squid Game stops for no one, so Gi-hoon will be forced to make some important choices in the face of overwhelming despair, as he and the surviving players are thrust into deadlier games that test everyone's resolve. With each round, their choices lead to increasingly grave consequences. Meanwhile, In-ho resumes his role as frontman to welcome the mysterious VIPs, and his brother, Jun-ho, continues his search for the elusive island, unaware there's a traitor in their midst. Will Ji-hoon make the right decisions, or will frontman finally break his spirit? It's over. But yeah, this is definitely one of those K-dramas where nobody is safe. Oh, except for maybe Lee Jin-wook's character. He is like literally the only one. And like, why? Because of Park Yo-young, who she plays Soldier 011, which she low-key was such a badass in this. She plays a badass well. I love her. What was she? Yeah, she was our therapist in Nine Puzzles. She's been in Squid Game since season 2. She was also a Good Day to Be a Dog, the main role in that. Celebrity. I need to watch Dolly and the Cocky Prince. I've heard it's actually really good. Devil Judge, like, girl has a list and she is doing amazing. She's an exceptional actress or actor, however you want to put it. And even though she was like a supporting, it says she was the main role. So she was the main role, but her storyline and everything, like, why did they choose those two characters to make it? I don't know, but I'm happy that they did it. And yeah. Oh, and Park Sung-hoon's character, probably the most upsetting of deaths. Sorry, spoiler alert. I don't even know where to go and to get in with that because again, it goes back to Yim Shi Wan. I really was hoping for a little redemption from him, considering he is now a father. No redemption for him. It got worse and worse, and that was probably the most upsetting for me because Yim Shi Wan, though he was in Strangers from Hell and his character there was interesting, I've also watched him in Run-On and Summer Strike, where he plays really sweet or introverted characters, and he plays those roles really well. Like, he has the face for it. Well, he also has the face for murder, apparently, and just being a selfish, soulless person is all I can really, like, when I look and think of the character, it's just upsetting. So what would I rate Squid Game Season 3? I'd say for an ending, It was pretty good, pretty poignant. They kind of left it open-ended with a very, very, in my mind, expensive cameo. But that was like super cool at the end, the cameo that we got from she's not American. Is she Australian or British? I can't remember what country she's from. They had Kate Blanchett, Australian, make a guest, like a surprise appearance in the K-drama at the very end, which was crazy. I don't think we need any more Squid Game. I'm kind of glad that the craze is over. And what would I rate it? I think because it's over, I'm going to give Squid Game Season 3 a 7.5 for my final rating of the entire show. I'm going to give it a 7.5 because there's only so much like blood and violence I can handle. And though the plot and the messaging was very interesting, and weirdly, I don't know if it's completely true, but supposedly this is sort of based off of something that really happened, which if that's the case, that's absolutely horrible. I think a lot of people probably, it has a 7.5 as it's the current rating. So I guess a lot of people were feeling the same way, but it is only 6 episodes. So like the length and how much they covered, I'd say was pretty good. I love this title. You call that an ending? I guess some people didn't like the ending. I was fine with the ending. But also sad ending. But I kind of feel like the sacrifice that Lee Jung-jae made, considering everything he did personally, I think that his ending was poignant. So yeah, that was Squid Game Season 3. And like I said, I do have a recorded reaction, so if you want to see me just shocked to hell left and right, definitely check that out. Next K-drama that I finished was The First Night with the Duke. This was 12 episodes long. I watched it on Viki, and it aired June 11th through July 17th. It was a Wednesday, Thursday K-drama. And the premise of it is university student Kay is an ordinary young woman, but one day she finds herself in her favorite romance novel set during historical times. She has now become the minor character, Jae Sun-chuk. She is the daughter of a wealthy noble family, and her dream is to have a peaceful and normal life. Cha Sun-chuk, while possessed by Kay, then spends one night with Yi-bun, the lead male character in the novel. He comes from a royal lineage and is favored by the king. Yi-bun has a cold-blooded personality and is gifted with an attractive appearance and outstanding martial arts skills. I cannot talk. He has also experienced a heartbreaking past. Somehow, Yi-bun and Cha Sun-chuk happen to meet and talk. Yi-bun is consoled by her and his heartbreaking past. They spend the night together. Soon, Cha Sun-chuk tries to connect Yi-bun to Cho Eun-ah, who is the lead female character in the novel. According to the novel, Yi-bun and Cho Eun-ah are supposed to fall in love, but due to the appearance of Cha Sun-chuk, Cho Eun-ah's fate has changed. No matter how hard Cha Sun-chuk tries, Lee-bun's love always finds its way back to her. Other people around them include Jung So-gyum and Do Hwa-sun. Jung So-gyum is a young officer from a prestigious family. He is Yi-bun's only friend. Do Won-sa is an ambitious woman whose life goal is to marry Yi-bun and become a member of the royal family. So the storyline, I saw a lot of things coming. Even though I wanted to trust the used-to-be lead role, I kind of felt like things were going to go down with them, which did. I will say this had OK Taekyeon, which was the reason I watched it. Like, historical romances are just right up his alley. I think I mentioned this in the last podcast, but I wouldn't say he's typecasted, but, he can act these types of roles with his eyes shut. Like, I don't really think he was trying all that hard, but him and Soo-hyun, who, she's kind of new to me. She's been in a few K-dramas that I've watched and I've enjoyed. So I think that their romance and their chemistry was really good. Also, I just feel like age-wise, it was more appropriate than some of the romances he's had to go in with the actors, because like Guy is in his 30s, right? How old is he? I almost thought we were the same age. I'm trying to look up his age right now. Yeah, Guy is 36 years old, and so he's a little younger than me. How old is she? And she's 34, so I like the age. And the ages that they're supposed to be playing in the K-drama. The action was okay, and it was an okay drama. Like, I was really just here for a warm, loving, historical K-drama based as if she was in, like, had traveled into a webtoon. And I guess it was adapted from a web novel as well. The only thing is, it was just a little weird once we find out what really happened, which basically Seo Han's character, or Kay, you know, her real life character goes into the novel, and then apparently Chosun Chik, the character in the novel, they switch bodies. So she goes into the real world, where our real world girl goes into the comic, and then they just stay there. And so apparently, like, Sun Chuk has been out in the real world this whole time, just living Kay's life, or reliving it. I don't know, reinventing herself. None are the wiser. And like, Kay left some drama behind. Like, she had accidentally like been flirting with a guy that had a girlfriend and all this other stuff. And then that also gave her some mental backlash when she's in the drama, because she's like, great, I'm doing it again. I'm just a big homewrecker. And that was really the only problem. But then she got over that really fast. So yeah, it was an okay K-drama story-wise. It wasn't all that surprising, the twists and turns, but the romance and the acting kind of kept me intrigued. Very cute. Some people did not like this one. I see in the reviews, like, the first 2 or 3 are all like 5s. They've ruined it. A bumpy and underwhelming fantasy ride. Everything was going great until episode 8, which really, episode 8 does kind of go off the rails. Like, there's just things about the K-drama that will never be explained. They just really kind of leaned heavily into, it's fantasy, just go with it. And I think that's difficult for some people to just accept. So it's like plot holes, kind of, but also just no real explanation. And also, I don't know if they normally do this, but like, they made it seem like, well, she's in a novel, the novel ends, they're all gonna die. No, they fixed that by just, oh, there's a new story that pops up. And they just live their lives. Is it like the happiest of endings? I guess so, if you want to have like 12 kids with a duke. If that's your goal in life, mission accomplished. So yeah, it was a cute K-drama. I'm glad I watched it. You know, I use these K-dramas to escape reality, and this one definitely helped me escape. So what would I rate it though? I think I really would only give it like a 7. Because again, I saw a lot of stuff coming. I really was curious exactly what was going on, because I at first thought that it was one of those storylines where her body was still in the real world and she just was like in a coma sleeping, and she eventually was going to have to come out of it, and somehow Taekyeon's character would be in the real world kind of storyline. Not the case. She fully just commits to staying in a historical web novel instead of coming back to reality. Which maybe for me, same. You know, but then homegirl goes around and is like pushing out 12 kids for this guy. In historical K-drama land, in the real world, she would not have survived probably the first or second birth. But, you know, it's K-drama land, so let's have all those children. We are in a fertility crisis, people. But I am going to give it 7. Even though I gave it a 7, I did really enjoy it. It just, in the grand scheme of things, it's 7 quality. And the last K-drama I finished, which this is actually a 2024 K-drama. I decided to watch it randomly, but also because I really wanted to watch it in 2024. I just really never got around to it. And that was Jung Young, The Star is Born. This was 12 episodes. This was Hulu, Disney Plus. And the premise is Jung Young has no money or education, but she is a Makbo girl with a talent for singing. Her dream is to join a women's traditional theater company and make it big, but she has a lot to learn and a long way to go before becoming a lead actor. Will Jung Young achieve her dream of becoming a big star and getting rich? The story begins in 1956, post-war Korea, in the southwestern port city of Makbo. It's practically an all-female cast, which I freaking loved. And it stars Kim Tae-ri. She's a phenomenal actress. Shin Ya-eun, who she was in The Secret Romantic Garden. No, sorry. The Secret Romantic Guest House, which I loved her in. It also has Rami Ron, Jung Eun-cha, who barely recognize her with this long hair, because in it she has like a very short cut and just looks absolutely different. But her character was really interesting. And also Kim Yoon-hee, or Hi, who in this photo, she has short hair, and in the K-drama, she has long hair. She looks amazing. Some folks kind of insinuated that this was a LGBTQ plus type of K-drama, which kind of is there, but kind of not. There were some things that they threw out in, like, I would say the last episode that I was curious about and a little confused about, but was fine with. You know, we had some like Kim Yoon-hee discoveries, which kind of saw that coming, but also why were we hiding it until the very end. Kim Tae-ri's character really was upsetting, because the whole thing is like Kim Yoon-hee's character is very jealous of Kim Tae-ri and her rise to stardom, as well as Shin Yoon. Like Shin Yoon and Kim Tae-ri, they are sort of, I wouldn't say enemies to lovers, but like enemies to respected troupe singers. You know, they are in constant competition with one another because they're both very talented. Shin Yoon is more classically trained, where Kim Tae-ri is just a natural born talent. And just the struggles that they have and the fights that they have, they kept things interesting. Woo Da-vee's character, the way that they got rid of her was stupid. And I was like, what the hell? But also different times. So I don't know how I felt about that, but the ending scenes were really fantastic. Also, it's made me now obsessed with pansori, I think is the genre of music, but it's basically like Korean folk music, because they do snippets of different plays and performances, and I'm now just low-key listening to that in the background. Also, the post-war Korea time, the outfits, the troupe, very interesting, and I absolutely loved it. And the music, I'm just a big theater kid in general, so the fact that this was like based around a theater group was super fun. I'm so glad that I watched it. It was probably one of the favorite ones that I watched in July. And I watched it on a whim. I was kind of like, you know what? I've been meaning to watch it. I have some time. Let's give it a go. And did not disappoint. I highly recommend you give this one a watch. I'd say that some of the drama and the stuff that happens to Kim Tae-ri's character was kind of ridiculous. And I was like, I feel like that was not necessary. But also just very heartwarming, very sweet. Kim Tae-ri and her mother, who I didn't even realize that she's the mother from When Life Gives You Tangerines. That relationship, Moon So-ri. She plays the mother of Kim Tae-ri. Really heartbreaking discoveries regarding those characters. That was a good twist. I was like, oh, that's interesting. That's why she didn't want her to sing. That's why she didn't want her to do this and that. I thought that was a really good piece of the story. Also heartbreaking. And yeah, I'd say the ending was good. It didn't have the happiest of endings, but it had one of those endings where it was like, hey guys, even though, the troupe did, spoiler alert, break apart, they all went out and did amazing things afterwards. Kind of like so and so made it into the movies, so and so became this type of singer. They kind of gave like a heartwarming, hey, just because the troupe's over doesn't mean they didn't go out and do amazing things and keep performing. So I kind of liked that open-ended ending. But overall, I'd say I'm going to give it like an 8.5 just because some of the drama and the stuff that happens was just a little far-fetched. But also, I loved the music. I loved the fact that it was based around a theater troupe, an all-female theater troupe. It really had a good group of actors and characters. And Kim Tae-ri can really do no wrong. She's absolutely amazing in anything she does. She's just such a good actor. Also, I don't know who was singing the actual Pinsori. I don't think it was the actual actors performing the singing portions. All right, why is this not letting me rate it? There we go. Submit. Wow, that was so difficult. I don't know who the singing performers were. It might be on the cast and credit list. But they were able to really make me think that they were singing. And I wonder how much training they had to do ahead of time for the acting scenes. I really liked it. I'm glad that I started it randomly. So what am I watching currently? Not a lot. We just started Law in the City on Twitch. I have watched episodes 1 and 2 of that one. There's going to be 12 of them. And that one stars Lee Jong-suk and Moon Ka-young, which is why I'm really glad that we voted on it because I just really love Lee Jong-suk and have not seen him in something recently. Moon Ka-young was just in My Dearest Nemesis, so literally just saw her in something. Intrigued to see this relationship because it's very much appearing to be a previously met, but now enemies going to lovers romance. But it's a law, romance, life K-drama. And the premise of this one is a senior associate lawyer in his 9th year, An Joo-hyung, seems cold-blooded, but no one can deny his competence in the field. He became a lawyer simply because he found logic and cases interesting, but from the start of his career, he never grasped the idea that lawyers are supposed to protect the weak, uphold justice, and make a difference in the world. Although he's a veteran among associates and has even set a new salary record, he refuses to open his own practice, finding it too troublesome. But now the once peaceful walls of his workplace are beginning to crack. On the other hand, Kong Hyo-ji, a junior associate at Joha Law Firm, is a social butterfly who always ends up surrounded by people. She believes that if you change one person's life, you have changed that person's entire world. Whether she is lacking or overflowing, she is a confident and honest person. Alongside them are Bae Moon Jong, Cho Chung Won, and Ha Sung Ji. These 5 lovable law firm attorneys struggle and grow through various cases, both inside and outside the courtroom, while building solid friendships by having meals together. And boy, these meals together in the first 2 episodes look so delicious, okay? I understand now why it's called Law in the City. I think it's kind of a spin off of like the American show Sex in the City, because only they're all lawyers. In Sex in the City, it's like, the 4 best friends who... The scenes that we see is usually of them at lunch having conversations, mostly about sex, because Sex in the City, whereas this is Law in the City. So more lawyer-based conversations, but around really delicious-looking food. Not only does it have Lee Jong-suk and Moon Ka-young, it also has Kong Yoo-suk, Ryo Hyo-young, which the chat was cracking me up because everybody was like, oh my gosh, she's finally graduated from law school, because she was in law school and now she's an adult lawyer. She graduated and now she's working. So in my mind, it's like a spinoff of law school, but with more comedy. So really good to see her in another law role. Also has Im Sung-jae, who they did him real dirty with his haircut, but he's also a foodie. Also, Ryo Hee... These Korean names, I feel so bad, guys. I butcher them every time, and I probably always will. So I apologize, but hopefully you're forgiving. Anyway, our law school graduate, who plays Bae Jung. She's also a foodie. Also love her cute short haircut. So far, so good. I am not reading this yet because I've only watched 2 episodes, but we are watching it live on Twitch on Saturdays if you want to join in. And it's good. I'm liking it so far. Also, the food shots. Like, I love a good food shot. The food is good in these ones. And I still have it on my list. Have not gone any further with our movie. Again, I think I'm going to drop it. It's just still there out of laziness. I have also it's not a K-drama, but I've also been watching Marry My Husband Japan. So it is a Japanese version of the K-drama Marry My Husband, which I'm watching that as a Patreon exclusive. So we have kind of made history, and a Japanese drama was voted on and won on my K-drama Patreon. So we're watching Marry My Husband Japan, and I'm going to hold off on that. I think I want to do a full comparison between the Japanese and the Korean version. So I also am thinking I need to rewatch Marry My Husband, the K-drama, because there's some things that I'm like, is that like the K-drama or is that a Japanese spin to the story? So I need to kind of rewatch and compare. But overall, I'm really liking Marry My Husband Japan. It's only 10 episodes, so it's 6 episodes less than the Korean version. So I'm really interested to see how much they're trying to fit in to the 10 episodes from the 16. You know, what are they keeping out? What are they including? It's been interesting so far, and I'm really enjoying it. I like a good Japanese television show, and I feel like because they are using a K-drama as a blueprint, I feel like it's elevating the Japanese version. But they are very much putting a J-drama twist on it. But I'm liking it. I'm liking it. As for what's coming out and what I'm interested in, not a lot. I'm really in a bit of a K-drama rut. So let me know what you're interested in the comments below. You know, we have the new K-drama Beyond the Bar, which is on Netflix. There was another one that I think it was called like Alice Kills People or something to that nature. I'm in a real rut. So let me know what you know about that's coming out that you're interested in the comments below, because I really don't know. I don't know what I'm going to watch next. I think I'm going to be rewatching Marry My Husband and continuing Law in the City on Twitch. But I really, right now, as I'm recording this, there's nothing current that I want to watch. So I think I might be going back through the archives and picking some other older K-dramas to watch that I haven't had the chance to watch. So yeah, I am looking. So if you know of something coming out that you're like, this is going to be the good one, definitely let me know. And with that, I hope you enjoyed this K-drama recap podcast for July. Let me know what you thought of all the K-dramas in the comments below. Let me know what you completed in the month of July. And thank you so much for staying to the end to hear my goodbyes. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video or on Twitch. Bye.